going on, everyone? Welcome to the Rumpier Sports Hardwood show for some Thursday night NBA action. And finally got a good slate here on Thursday. We've got 5 games. It's more than usual. Seems like these Thursday slates have been, 2 or 3, but we got 5 games. Makes it more appealing for DFS purposes. As always, joined by my boy BigT. But back in the saddle here with Mr. JT Hayes. We've been missing each other on these shows. I'm not on the Tuesday ones. The Thursday slate's been so bad, but glad to have you back. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good, man. It's good to see you too. Good to see that beautiful Rumpier Sports hat, that beautiful smile, that Detroit smile, and excited about this slate. It's been, man, Tony, hasn't it been a great week in Discord though? We got to talk about some of our members. Just the mood was so good throughout the week. I mean, even yesterday, it was just amazing. I even unblocked Gary. So, I mean, you just have to love our members. Today they were lit. They're doing things that I can't even talk about, but I had to wipe my eyes a few times before this show started because they brought me such joy today. So I'm excited to work hard for them tonight and put together some good cores so that we could ship some of these good tournaments on. Finally, on a Thursday night, we've got some really good action here.
Yeah, the slate's shaping out to be good. I mean, a ton of news, obviously, and as we always say on these shows, it's we got a bunch of news already, and wouldn't be surprised if we get more before the slate locks at 7:30 Eastern. BigT, bring you in here. Your initial thoughts here on the slate.
Yeah, it's a good slate for sure. Right away, the chat's just, you were talking about how good the Discord is. Sean V in the chat just coming after Big T was so wrong about the Kings Celtics game. Jaylen Brown was awful, and Buddy Hield was average at best. Buddy Hield was bad. He still got you 5X, though. He was 6K, got you 33 fantasy points. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Jaylen Brown was terrible. He was one of the best plays on the slate. What can I say? He was a great play. He didn't get there. He still got 34. I mean, it was what it was. Neither one of them got there. I mean, whatever. It is what it is.
I mean, Sean V's got to be a free member, right? He can't be one of our members with that immediate attack on you.
Just bad mojo. Right after you were talking about good mojo, too. I mean, you were talking about all the good vibes. We're all about the good vibes here. The chat's been recovering. Like I said on a lot of shows, the chat is absolutely miserable after lock, usually. But it's slowly been getting better, and it started with AP that one night when he got the ship. And before the ship, very, very much positivity in the chat. It helps things. So I'm all about the positive. Don't be bringing negative juju in here, especially with that. Jaylen Brown was bad, but he was one of the better plays. He still got 34. Was what it was. Don't come. You can come after me for much worse takes than that.
I mean, it was. We did the show yesterday, and I know even on the bet sheet, a lot of us were high on the Kings to win that game, and
they got
those guys. Yeah, they got it done. And Jaylen Brown, I mean, it didn't kill your teams if you had him, and plus he's pretty popular too. Bad take there in the chat. The one thing that is pretty disappointing about this slate, though. 5 games, as I said, and the biggest piece of injury news takes away the best segment on the show, man. Damian Lillard is out. Come on. I wanted to hear some Lillard talk. Got any Lillard talk, Mr. Hayes?
It could have been because Philadelphia has been so bad against point guards, and now we've got a situation where we have to figure out if Anthony Simons, who only played 13 minutes the other night, is recovered from that little hamstring injury that Stotts talked about. And we've got our members sitting up the medical staff. I mean, they're on top of it, but we won't know. And it does kind of make this matchup a lot more difficult to navigate because now it's really difficult to see this Philly team being in a close game with these Blazers. So you not only have to look at what's the good value on the Portland side, but it's a situation where, all right, do we want to avoid the Philly starters and go with the Maxis, the Miltons of the world? That's something we have to think about here.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting game. I mean, the Trailblazers are going to be very, very thin, and we'll break it all down when we get to that game. It's very interesting. There's a lot of different angles to hit on when talking about that one. But as always, guys, out of the gate here, let's get some likes up. About 300 people watching. Let's get that number up there. I mean, we got 2 premier plays at the end of the show. We got the workbench play of the day, and we get the Eiffel Tower play of the day. So please hit the like, hit the subscribe. I can get cranky and hold those plays hostage unless we get the proper number of likes. Just don't make me do it. Just hit the likes and subscriptions and we'll be good. You can subscribe in the bottom right corner of the screen, the little RPS logo, and hit subscribe under. Just click that, click the like, and we'll be off to a good start. I won't be cranky. I'll be in a good mood throughout the entire show. A ton of Super Bowl content coming out. Already started producing a lot of shows. Tony and I did our Showdown breakdown, which we went a couple steps further. Not only did we talk about the pass that we see in the Super Bowl in terms of game script and whatnot, we talked about some other ones. And I really like the things we touched on in that show. Did some lineup building as well. That's part of the premium package at Run Pure Sports. I know Tony, JSU, Dunkel, and a special guest will be recording the Print Factory show tonight. That's going to be free, right, Tony? Free and live, correct?
Yeah, tonight it's going to be super exciting. We got my buddy who won the super contest, David ODB Baker, coming on with me, JSU, and Dunkel tonight. So 4-man booth. We've covered a lot of the DFS stuff this week. Me and Hoop did a show. I did the special show with Chop. I'm sure we've had the Bets and DFS show that covered a lot of DFS stuff. Mm-hmm. Tonight's going to be more gambling side of it, so more betting. I mean, we'll talk a little DFS, but for the most part, we're gonna attack the gambling a little bit, the betting lines, the props. We're gonna dive in deep, and we got some of the best. Dunkel, like I said, the dude that won the super contest and the Circa in Vegas. So should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll have our playbook probably finished up by tomorrow, which will be our a premium piece of content that goes along with the Super Bowl and the Showdown slate. So that should be out tomorrow afternoon, I'm assuming. We have that promo code going still. Workbench 21 gets you 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. So head on over there, check us out. $25 you can get, the weekly package is 20. So if you get that 25% off, it takes you down to 15. You can try it out for a week. And, if you don't like it, cancel it. But we think you'll like it. It's a very unique product, much different than others in the industry that are really based around projections and optimizers and things like that. We have all that stuff too, but the main focus of our content is going to be the personal touch that all our coordinators put on it. And I really think we have the strongest team in the industry when it comes to that. So head on over to Run Pure Sports, promo code Workbench 21, 25% off your first payment. All right, let's hop into this one. First game out of the gate, we have the Jazz, we have the Hawks, 225.5 total. Utah is favored by 8.5 in this game. And, we kind of have to wait on some news here. Trae Young is questionable. And obviously this is the first game right out of the gate. So we'll get it at some point. Wouldn't be surprised actually if we get it here on this show. But, if he were to sit, obviously huge boost to, Rondo, Herder, Reddish, John Collins, all would get a pretty massive boost. The matchup's not great though. The Jazz have been playing some good basketball. On the Jazz side, they're pretty much back to full strength, which makes it a little bit difficult for DFS purposes, but it's a really good matchup here. And I could definitely see a couple of these guys getting there in terms of value. So I'll go to you first, JT. What's your take here on this Jazz team at full strength? Do any of these guys stand out to you? And then how are you playing the situation with the Hawks and Trae Young, whether he's in or out?
Yeah, it's pretty big news because without Trae, that leaves a lot of usage open. I did a quick look, very small sample this year. It looks like so far with Trae off the court, Capella has gotten the biggest bump, followed by Huerter. And Huerter has been good in games where Trae has missed before. I think even in Boston last year, he might have put up something like 45 or 50 DraftKings points. So Huerter is kind of, the Atlanta side is kind of in flux. If Trae is out, I think you can look to Huerter and Cam Reddish. I still don't know that I would play Capella at that price on a back-to-back. On the Utah side, I think the pricing for Conley and Mitchell, and quite frankly, especially if Trae is out, Jordan Clarkson's price came down a little bit. So that's where I would look on the Utah side. Not interested in Gobert. He hasn't fared very well against Capella. Quite honestly, he didn't fare very well against Capella's old team when they even were playing without a center. So I think this is one where the news makes a big difference in terms of how you attack this game.
Yeah, and like I said, it's the first game out of the gate. I mean, lock is 7:30 Eastern. This is a 7:30 Eastern game, so we're going to get this news, and it kind of dictates what happens here at the slate. I mean, if Trae Young is in, obviously the blowout in this situation a lot less likely. If he's out, the Jazz could have their way in this game, and we have a couple of those games too on the slate. So it makes it pretty interesting. Throw it to you, Tony. What's your overall take here in this game? Any interest in some of these Jazz guys, and what are you doing, with the Hawks based on the Trae Young news, whether he's in or out?
Yeah, Utah looks like a pretty easy fade for me on this slate. Like the prices make sense. Everyone's in. I just don't see a ton of meat on the bone for any of them. I mean, sure, it's a decent matchup. Any of them could get there, like we always talk about. They're more floor plays for me tonight than ceiling plays. And being a tournament player, I definitely want that ceiling. And I mean, Atlanta too, for the most part. Yeah, if we get Trae out, you can definitely go to these guys. I mean, Herder at 4,500 on FanDuel is way too cheap, especially if he's out. If he's in, I mean, I like him. But I don't think I like him more than some of the other values on the slate. He hasn't showed me a ton on this current roster when everyone's in there. So, yeah, he's good. We just need to wait on the news, like you said. And if Trae's in there, which I kind of think Trae plays. I mean, I'm leaning towards him playing with the way it shapes up. If he doesn't, I'm playing. I guess I'll just circle back and see. I mean, still though, like if he's out, I'm not going to like Capella. John Collins will definitely be in play if that happens. I'm looking at the rest of the roster. Like who else would pop for me? I mean, Cam Reddish would for sure pop. Rondo, obviously, but even Rondo, like some of the times when he's gone in there and been super chalky on these fill-in spots. I mean, he looked good. Like the one game he played 18 minutes, 30. That was against Minnesota. The next game he played 30 minutes, only 23 fantasy points, which is good for his price point. I'm not saying that, but Mike Conley's a good defender. I don't know if he's like a mortal lock if Trae's out, especially with some of the other plays on the slate. So part of me hopes Trae's out, and a lot of people pound this Atlanta team because I don't love the spot for offense. I still will like Portland more and some of the other spots on the slate more. So guess we'll circle back once we get the starting lineup or the news.
Yeah, I'm assuming we get it in the show and we can come back and kind of cover the guys that stand out. I will say Herder at 4.5K, I think definitely in play either way. And on FanDuel, if Trae Young's out, I mean, he's, I think, probably a stone lock on FanDuel at shooting guard at 4.5K. But we'll circle back if we do get the news. Next game is a solid one. And we got the Warriors, got the Mavericks, 229 total. Dallas favored by 3.5 in this game. And, it's a back-to-back for Dallas, which is a little bit concerning, but, I'm not overly concerned just because Mavericks need to win some ball games. I mean, they got off to a pretty slow start this season, and they're kind of in mode where they need to win. And Porzingis, always concerned on a back-to-back, but not on the injury report here. I mean, this is a game I think the Mavericks get up for. I think Luka is obviously a really, really good spend. He's going to be popular because we just don't have many options to spend up on. I mean, we have the guys in the Nuggets and Lakers game later, but I think Luka's a really, really good spend here in this spot. I think Porzingis is also in play. I mean, FanDuel, he's 7.5, DK 7.7. Prefer him a little bit more on FanDuel where you have to play those two power forwards. Kleba continues to get big minutes. I think he played like 36 or something last night, and he's really cheap. He's 3.6 on DK. On the Warrior side, I have interest in Draymond Green. Finally played the minutes. I mean, it's been a rough go for him so far this season in terms of fantasy production, but 37 minutes last game. I mean, he's a guy that if he's going to get that sort of minutes, he can find a way to grind out value, and he has upside. 5.2K on DK is a really, really good price tag for him. Juan Toscano Anderson had some good Kerr had some good comments about him, basically like he's going to have to play a lot of minutes. 3.5K, very cheap on FanDuel as well. I think he's a strong play. I'm going to continue to play Kelly Oubre as well, kind of getting that run with the second unit. So I think there's a lot of plays there. And piece of news, I mean, Pascal is questionable. If he is to miss, I mean, they're going to be very thin. So Draymond Green and Toscano Anderson will be locked into really heavy minutes. So a lot to like. This game's at 7:30. We'll get the news on Eric Pascal. Tony, I'll throw it to you first. What kind of stands out to you in this game?
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder about this spread too, because I like Dallas a ton. I'm so low on Golden State this year. I say it every show. Their record's good. The sports books are giving them love, which means they're probably better than I think they are. But man, I just don't respect them at all. I don't respect this roster because I already know what Carlisle's going to do. He's going to blitz Curry. He's going to make these other guys beat him. Yeah. And I don't trust Oubre and Wiggins to make shots. I just don't. I mean, maybe they do. I like Oubre as a fantasy player. He's cheap. He's going to get us other stuff. If he hits shots, he's going to crush, which.
Yeah, real quick, perfect timing. Pascal's out.
Yeah, which doesn't impact that much. I mean, I think it solidifies Draymond for sure. Like, Draymond becomes just a total lock, but I don't know.
Have guys. I mean, he's going to have to play close to 40 minutes. I mean, who's going to play center?
I mean, they're playing a team without a center, so I don't think.
Well, I mean, Draymond. I guess my point is Draymond Green is going to play as many minutes as he possibly can, and if it's a close game.
Let me look at this roster. Let's look through
Toscano Anderson's going to have to play a ton. They don't have any bigs.
Yeah, are we missing do they have anything that we haven't seen? Like, do they even have anyone they can even play?
I don't think they called anyone up. I don't think there's any random dudes. I mean, I honestly
in the COVID era, I don't even know. Are they even able to call people up? Does that even exist anymore?
I don't even think I don't think the G League has started, has it?
It's in a bubble, I think. I'm pretty sure you can't just call someone up anyway. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the roster. Even their bench guys are little guys. I mean, Mulder and Bazemore and Damian Lee and all these guys are little guys. So I'll tell you what, I don't see how Dallas doesn't blow this team out. I'll just flat out say that. I mean, how in the world? I don't understand the spread. I'll just say it. I don't get it. I'm sure the spread's it has to go. I literally don't understand.
See, I'm so opposite of you on this.
How are they going to win?
I think the Warriors, I think a lot of people are discrediting the Warriors. I think they're a little bit better than people think, to be honest. So we're thinking about this two totally different ways. I don't think they're all that bad of a team. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, I definitely could be wrong, but I think they're decent, and I actually like them in this spot. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the roster, and I just don't understand how they match up at all. I mean, you got all little dudes coming off the bench, Wanamaker, and I mean, it's all.
Porzingis should eat. I mean, if Porzingis gets his full run here, I mean, he should absolutely eat in this spot.
Yeah, I don't understand who really, and I think that this news has to hurt Kleber. I don't they're going to go small too. The whole game has to go small because if Golden State, for sure, they're forced to go small. So Kleber doesn't really fit in with that. They can just play Porzingis at the 5, but if they play Porzingis and Kleber, the matchups just don't work they're not going to be able to guard Golden State. No. So he's going to kind of get run off the floor a little bit, which opens up some of these other guys Hardaway looks better, Trey Burke. All the guys like that should get a little bit more run. But, man, I think you're right about I think the guys that are going to crush are Draymond, Oubre, and Wiggins because and obviously Toscano Anderson's going to have to play minutes too. But, I mean, he sucks. So I like him for the value. But, those three, because they're going to blitz Curry for sure. Draymond, Oubre, and Wiggins almost have to crush. They're going to play 40 minutes, those guys, especially Oubre and Wiggins. I don't see any way they're not playing just huge minutes. So it's going to be interesting. I need to evaluate here a little bit.
Bazemore as well. Bazemore is 3.3K. I think he's
him a lot.
Yeah, he's a strong play. 17 minutes last game. I mean, have to imagine he gets into the mid-20s. It's a really good spot. I mean, I actually really like these Warrior guys. JT, we will throw it on over to you. Anything else kind of stand out to you in this game?
Yeah, no, I mean, nothing to add really above what you guys said. I watched the game last night against the Hawks, and all they did every time Trey got to midcourt was surround him with two guys. I expect they're going to do the same with Curry. And that's why, and these are the situations when I like to play Andrew Wiggins, when he has to be on the floor. And, even if he's not shooting well or early in the game, he's going to get those extra 6, 7, 8 minutes. So, Yeah, I think you guys did a pretty good job. I never liked playing Bazemore, so I mean, he does happen to be one of the first or second reserves off the bench on this team, so I can see the play. I just don't think I'll personally be overweight on it. I'd rather mix in Portland than have to go to Bazemore.
Yeah, someone in the chat says, "Can we fade this game and get away with it?" I mean, I wouldn't. Not on this 5-game slate. I mean, I think it's a really good spot. I mean, the Warriors guys, I like. I mean, my least favorite Warrior is probably Steph Curry, to be honest. I like all those other guys a ton. Like you said, Wiggins. I think this is a good spot for Wiggins. Has to be. I mean, a really good spot for Oubre. Then you got Luka on the other side. You got Porzingis. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas switches up their starting lineup. I mean, Carlisle's a pretty smart coach. I wouldn't be surprised if Porzingis starts at the 5, but we'll see. But it's a really good game. I would not recommend fading it. There's no doubt about that. We have 450 people watching. Let's get this thing up to say 230 for the likes. Get up to 230. We're about 150 right now. Also, while you hit the like, I mean, it's very easy. Hit the subscribe button, bottom right corner, RPS logo, little word subscribe under it. Click on both those things. Helps us continue to bring you guys these shows for free. It helps us out for sure. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. Just hit the like because, we got the Eiffel Tower play, we got the workbench play, and, if I have to keep asking for these likes, those plays, might go to the premium side of things. So make sure just to hit it, and don't piss off Hoop today. I'll just put it that way. Next game, we have the Trailblazers. We have the 76ers. 223 total. 76ers favored by 10 in this game. And the reason they're favored by 10, Damian Lillard out. CJ McCollum obviously continues to be out. A really, really thin Trailblazers team. Shaping up to be a blowout spot for the 76ers, obviously. The one thing I will say about the Trailblazers, and, we kind of talked about it a little bit in the opening, we do have to see on Anthony Simons, but you have to imagine, they need him. I mean, they just don't have bodies. So even if he's not fully healthy, I think he still gets some minutes. One thing I will say about these Trailblazers guys, though, is, these are guys that can score. I mean, these are hooper guys. I mean, you got Simons who can get baskets. You got Gary Trent who can score. You got Hood who can score. Cantor's obviously good. Carmelo, they have scores. So I think they can hang here, and it would obviously be very good for DFS if they keep this game close. I mean, because they only have basically 8 dudes that are, probably going to get decent amount of run here. So you're kind of forced to play some Trailblazers here. I feel pretty good about it. I'm not overly worried about the blowout, even if they do blow them out. I could definitely see some of these guys getting there. On the 76ers side, probably won't go anywhere. I'll go to you first, JT Hayes. You mentioned some of these secondary guys for the 76ers, like Milton and Maxey. These are some guys that could potentially get some run if this does turn into a blowout. What's your overall read here on this game?
Yeah, so I think Maxey and Milton in particular are cheap enough that even if the game stays close, one of the things that I've been looking at, talked about it on the podcast the other night with Draft Sheet, was this second unit for Portland, which now some of those guys are elevated to the first unit. And so the second unit defensively is even worse than it was. But I think you can look at Maxey and Milton on this slate. It's a back-to-back for Philly. If it blows out, they're definitely going to get 24 to 25 minutes, maybe not a piece. I think obviously Shake is the first guy you look at, but Maxey on DraftKings is 3-2. On the Portland side, I was looking at a lot of stuff because of this situation with Anthony Simons, if it's a situation. So Stotts said that Simons had tweaked his hamstring, which was an injury that he suffered previously, and that's why he only played 13 minutes. But he had played 30 minutes, I think, the night before, and it was a back-to-back. So the thing with Simons could have been nothing more than, it didn't feel right, and you're just going to rest him because that was a game that wasn't all that close for the entirety of the game. So the more I think about it, the more I think we may be psyching ourselves into believing that something's wrong with Anthony Simons when if he's fine, even if he's 80%, he's one of the best plays on the slate against this Philly guard defense at his price. I think, the other Blazers, I think you got to look at. Some of them are priced up. Obviously, Covington, I think, is fine. Trent's a really good three-point shooter. Philly gives up close to, or if not the most, three-point conversions per game. And Enes Kanter has not done a bad job offensively. He doesn't guard anybody, so he's not going to guard Joel Embiid, but he hasn't had terrible games against this Sixers defense. In fact, I remember playing him a couple of years back on a Christmas slate when he was with the Knicks, and he absolutely went off against the Sixers D, and Embiid was in that game. So I think it's one of those nights where I'm gonna multi-enter, and I'm gonna have two different sets of teams. One rule is going to be I need to have at least 4 of these cheap guys from a couple of different teams, and the other one maybe I need to have 5 because I think that type of smash value is there.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't have guys. I mean, so they're all going to get a ton of run. And the one thing I will say to add on with Simons, this game is 30 minutes after lock. We should have the starters before lock. Be very simple. Like if Simons for some reason isn't starting, then I'd be a little bit concerned. But if he's announced in that starting lineup, I'd have no concerns about the minutes with him. I think he'd be full go. Tony, give me your breakdown here of this game. I mean, which of these Trailblazers stand out to you, and then any 76ers for you?
Yeah, I like the Blazers spot a lot. I'm trying to navigate right now between the Blazers and the Warriors guys, just because they're just such good values all the way around. And I don't know, like Simmons pissed me off the other night, but they don't have any ball handlers. They're like they're a little bit the opposite of the Golden State situation, where they got a bunch of bigger guys that, like, Covington isn't really a guy that you're going to want to create for you. Kanter obviously in the post, but Melo in like the high post, you can throw him the ball. You don't have any guards though. You got Simmons and Gary Trent. I mean, Rodney Hood even, you don't want him bringing the ball up and creating. You kind of throw it to him in the mid-range too. So Giles, and then you got the 2 scrubs. So what they only got 9 guys too. So both teams 9 guys tonight. Ellaby and Blevins, though, I mean, they don't want to play those guys. Giles, they don't really want to play him. So you're talking 6 dudes.
Yeah, these dudes are going to play a ton of minutes. I mean, they're not Ellaby and Blevins. I mean, they're just – yeah.
When they put Ellaby in there the other night, like, he looked like the worst player I've ever seen in my life. He was really –
wow, look at that picture.
Yeah. I mean, he's not the one. So, yeah, I mean, I like these guys. For sure, I don't understand really why no one likes to play Gary Trent in this spot. He's going to be their best offensive player. He's going to be their best guard. His price is $6,200, and he's going to sneak through the cracks again tonight. Everyone's going to want to play Melo and Covington and Simmons and Hood and all these guys. It reminds me of Horford last night. Horford didn't crush, but he picked up 2 fouls. He stayed in the game. He grinded out 30 fantasy points, which was fine. It didn't kill us. Another workbench where just missionary. Didn't quite get us all the way home, but he got it there. And Gary Trent tonight, I don't see any way I don't play Gary Trent tonight. Like, he is a very good play for me. I could see him crushing this slate. Melo too. They're going to need Melo scoring. I like all these guys. It's just a matter of how the roster construction is going to come together. And we talked about matchups in the other game. Who in the world? Kanter can't guard Embiid. Embiid is going to crush. Like, he has to be one of the better play. If this game stays close and you're playing 3 or 4 Portland guys, I don't see how you don't play Embiid, because you want the game to stay close. If the game stays close, Embiid's going to get you 60. He's going to crush Kanter. Kanter can't guard. Kanter can score on him too. We've seen good battles in the past where these guys get into it a little bit because Kanter can score on him. No one scores on Embiid easy, but Kanter kind of matches up nice with him with those post moves. So you could see them going back and forth. So I like Embiid and basically all of Portland.
Yeah, I mean, if the game stays close, I just don't see a route where Embiid doesn't just, fully go off. And I do think this game avoids a full blowout. So really like Embiid. The ownership, I think, comes in pretty low on Embiid just because of the price thing. And I agree with the Gary Trent thing. When these situations come up where a team is very thin, everyone just gravitates to the cheapest guys. And Gary Trent happens to be the most expensive. So I think by far out of all these dudes, like, he comes in with the lowest ownership, and he might have just as much upside as anyone on this roster. So I do really like that call.
He took 16 shots in 40 minutes the other night with Lillard on the floor. So 16 shots in 40 minutes with Dame. He's going to take 25 shots without him. And
He's
we
a
saw
jugger.
from him, and we saw Embiid last night. I think he put up damn near 50 DraftKings points at the half.
Yeah.
So assuming he gets a couple more minutes, Embiid could have 75 in this game.
Yeah. If it stays close, I mean, the upside is just so massive. So I definitely like that call. Just a reminder, guys, we have the partnership going with Monkey Knife Fight. If you head on over there and use promo code RUNPEER at checkout, you get a $50 match on a $50 deposit. In addition to the partnership, we have a Discord channel fully dedicated and devoted to Monkey Knife Fight plays and picks that we post those in there all throughout the day. So head on over to Monkey Knife Fight, use that promo code RUNPEER at checkout for a $50 match on your deposit. All right, next game, Houston, Memphis, 224.5 total. Memphis favored by 3. And, this is a game that has some appealing plays, but honestly, I think now with the situation in, on the Golden State Warriors, the situation with the Timberwolves or with the Trailblazers, the ownership on these guys is going to come down quite a bit. Oladipo is going to miss this game, and John Wall was looking like one of the more popular plays. I think that ownership comes down because of these other situations. Eric Gordon looked really good last night. Still has a pretty good price tag on FanDuel. They moved him to point guard for some reason, which doesn't make any sense. FanDuel is doing this position shuffle thing, and he's point guard tonight. Christian Wood, I think, is a pretty good play on the Memphis side. The only guy I really like is Morant. Better price tag on FanDuel. I guess you could potentially look at Tillman Sr. with Valanciunas still out, but a lot less appealing, these plays, because of the other situations that have kind of popped up here today. So, Tony, I'm going to throw it to you first. What's your interest level here in this game?
Yeah, I mean, this one looks like a pretty easy fade for me for the most part. I know John Wall is going to get some interest. I mean, just looking at the price point, he's got to be like 40 or 50% owned. And I don't know what it is about this game. I mean, it's going to sneak a little bit through the cracks because the Golden State game and the Philly game now are just such good games that people are going to want exposure to those spots. The hard part is, like, how do we rank John Wall versus, just say, Wiggins and Oubre, even though they're a little bit cheaper? I know they are. But, man, you have to think Wall's going to be way more popular just because of the price, but I'm not sure it's a better spot. Like, I think I might like the Golden State guys a little bit more now, especially for the little cheaper. It's one of those things. It's why I recommend anyone to use the optimizer, where you kind of plug in your projections or whatever projections you trust and just see how it lines up. Like, if you give Wall 40 points and you give Oubre 34 or something, just how do they land on your teams, and kind of how does the roster take shape? Because I think Gary Trent, I mean, I like a lot of the guys that are a little bit cheaper than Wall, is what kind of leaves me in no man's land. And I mean, you can always play the studs. Obviously, we got studs all over this slate: Embiid and Luka, and all the studs in the late game, Jokic and LeBron and AD. We got studs galore, to where I'm interested to see how high owned Wood and Wall end up at 8,800 and 6,900, because they're both in a spot to crush. And if it was a normal slate, I would love both of them. I'm sure you still love Wall, right, Hoop? I mean, he's still going to be popular, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still like him, but I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm gonna prioritize those other guys. I think I like Wiggins. I mean, they've been so cautious with him after that second little injury scare. Like, they've been very hesitant to give him big minutes, and he's obviously sat out yesterday. I don't know. I think this is a situation where I agree. I'd probably side with the minutes on guys like Wiggins and Oubre, if deciding. I mean, obviously you could still play them. But yeah, I mean, he's still in play for me. I mean, the price tag on DK is really good for Wall. I mean, 6.9K. That's a very nice price tag. It's a good matchup. So yeah, I mean, I still have interest, but like I said, I mean, all this news that keeps coming in kind of gets shuffled down a little bit for me.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, it's one of those calls where, like, if you knew what the ownership was going to be, it would give you just such a massive edge that, like, if he's high owned, I definitely don't want to play him. And if he's low owned, I probably would want to play him. So it's literally just one of those calls. For me, I think I'm going to have interest in him, but what I like to do in these situations is lower his projection a little bit. Like right now, everywhere we'll have him projected low 40s. I make him like 38 or something. So just bump him a little bit down and see how much he hits my teams. If he's still hitting my teams at like 38, then maybe I go a little heavier on him. So I haven't tinkered with the teams all that much yet. I definitely like Golden State and Portland more on the surface, especially if they fit with my studs. That's my direction as of now.
Yeah, just a quick little update on the Warriors. So they only have nine bodies tonight. One of them is Mulder, who obviously won't get a ton of run. So just 9 bodies and no bigs. I mean, no bigs at all. Guy like Oubre is going to play some 4. He'll play quite a bit. So, I mean, just kind of solidifies.
I looked these dudes up while you guys were talking earlier, just because I wanted to see the height. I mean, none of them are above 6'6". I mean, they got all little dudes. So,
but I think that's a really good point that you brought up about Kleba. Like, he's going to be forced off the court. I mean, obviously Porzingis is going to get his minutes, but I mean, if they try running Porzingis and Kleba in this spot, Warriors will have a lot of success.
Though, if you promised me that they would play like a long period with those guys, like I would lock these Golden State guys. They wouldn't be able to guard them. I mean, even Porzingis is going to have a tough time guarding anybody. Yes. Golden State matches up better because they're going to blitz Curry, like we said. Draymond and Oubre and Wiggins and Toscana Anderson are going to eat. And even Bazemore, I would put Bazemore in there. I hate Bazemore too, like JT. I freaking hate Bazemore. But he's 3,300, and he's going to have to play minutes. So I like Golden State a lot. And coming into the show, I didn't like them that much either.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, just kind of talking through it. I mean, when you just look at the situation, it's a really good one. Back-to-back for Dallas as well.
How many minutes did Porzingis play yesterday?
I think it was 34.
Yeah, I'll flip it over to you. I'll get those minutes, JT. Give us your rundown. 34 and a half. So
I can't imagine he's going to run crazy minutes either. Golden State is in a really good spot for DFS. I don't like them betting wise. I think the Mavs definitely win betting wise, but DFS, man, they're in a good spot.
Yeah. All right, JT, what's your take here in this Rockets Grizzlies game?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page with you guys that this news has changed my opinion because I was looking at that Houston roster earlier in the day thinking it's back-to-back, Oladipo's out. Which one of these other guys are going to play? Is it going to be Sterling Brown again? Is it going to be, how many minutes is House going to get? And now I think all that really is irrelevant because I think you're looking at maybe from this game, for me anyway, it's probably Wall, Ja, and maybe a little bit of Christian Wood and maybe Kyle Anderson just because his price came down a little bit. And it is a good matchup for the forwards against Houston. But I don't know how much exposure I'll have. I think, I think this should be a closer game than Houston played last night. But I also don't expect them to run Wall big minutes. I mean, Oladipo played 32 last night. It was pretty much over by the middle of the third quarter. But I don't think they're going to run Wall for 40. The reason why I like Ja is his minutes have been inching up. He played 28, then he played 29 last game. He's coming off 2 bad games. They finally lost a game in Indiana, and one of these games is going to be the Ja smash spot where he gets 33, 34 minutes. And this is kind of the spot without Oladipo with a reduced defense that I would look for it from Ja. But I just don't know how much I'm going to have him because when you do your construction and you play those values and even the mid-range Golden State guys, then you can easily fit in Luka and Embiid and you run with that. So they'll definitely be lower owned, but I don't know if it's the best path points per dollar on this slate.
I agree with what you're saying. And, a lot of this value, when you have a slate with this much value, it kind of shifts you to the stars and scrubs build. And it leaves these guys, the 7K guys, a little bit tougher to kind of settle on. I mean, I think I agree with you on Morant. Like these minutes are going to creep up. This is a really good spot for him. I could see him going off. He's definitely a guy I want in my player pool. All right, guys, one more game. Not at the like, say about 200. I said 230. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, give away a piece of gear if we get there, and we'll do the workbench play and the Eiffel Tower play after. So make sure you get the like button. You hit the subscribe button. It helps us continue to bring you guys these shows for free. Last game, Nuggets, Lakers, 216.5 total. Lakers favored by 5. And I think this is kind of a sneaky game. I mean, this is, two teams, especially the Lakers, that we always talk about. They're tough to roster for DFS. They're kind of coasting. Playing the Nuggets at home, I think this is a spot where they get up. And if it's a competitive game, I think you're going to see, Anthony Davis get a normal amount of minutes. You're going to see LeBron James get a normal amount of minutes. A little bit higher on those guys tonight than usual. On the Nuggets side, it's shaping up to be another one of those slates where Jokic kind of goes unowned. I think more people are going to be on Luka. More people are going to be on probably Steph tonight now. I think it's another spot. Tony, you've been talking about these spots all season long where Jokic is going to be lower owned than he should be. I'll go to you first. Talk about this game, and you've been in lockstep about the Lakers situation. Are you like me and kind of shifting your tune a little bit on this team tonight?
Man, before we dive into it, Trae Young out.
Okay. Yeah.
So now we got even more value on this little 5-game slate where, this slate's going to get crazy because that opens up a lot of stuff for sure. Yep. Man, so Kevin Herter still probable.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this Lakers game and then we can circle back in a minute. The Lakers, I haven't really played them all year. Last year, these teams obviously played to go to the finals, had a decent series. The Lakers match up really good with the Nuggets because they can guard Jokic with AD if they want. They got other bigs that can guard him a little bit, like Gasol this year. Trez even. He'll eat Trez, but they got bodies to throw at Jokic, which not every team has an Anthony Davis that they can throw at Jokic that can handle him. Jokic will be fine, but it's definitely one of the toughest matchups in the league for Jokic. But, Jokic, he's going to be low-owned, like you said. And, man, it feels like every slate this dude is low-owned. Even the short slates, it feels like he ends up low-owned, which in turn brings him back into play a little bit because he's been just amazing. He gives you a high floor. You just never know, too, about news. You really don't. We always make jokes about AD and LeBron being questionable in play. What happens if the last second they rule AD out? All of a sudden, Jokic becomes the best play on the slate, in my opinion. They would have no one that can really handle him, and no one will be playing this late game all of a sudden. So you always have to be aware of news, especially I feel like when days like this happen, it feels like it just keeps happening. Where all of a sudden Ja Morant will be out or just random stuff just keeps happening to where the value keeps hitting. For me, I definitely have all three of the stars in play still. I don't know. We need to circle back and see what lines up. And it's hard because now Luka is probably in a more realistic spot to crush too. Golden State has no size. So can we really play one of these guys over Luka if we're going Golden State heavy? It's really hard. It's a really hard spot for me to do that. But everyone's doing that. Like you said, these guys are going to be low owned. So it's just a matter of if you want to what you want to weigh with it. It makes the Atlanta game no studs there. We got Embiid if you think that game stays close. I think there's some value definitely to leaving 2 stars in that late game. Play Jokic and LeBron, play Jokic and AD, play AD and LeBron even, and just hope the early stuff. Maybe we get all blowouts early. Lots of stuff can happen in the NBA. All of a sudden, if none of the stars get 60 and you're sitting on 2 late stars with all the value, you got a different build and you're going to feel very, very good about it.
Yeah, and it makes it easy in these late games because with all the value and we have really good value. It's not like we just have some decent value. We have a bunch of really good value. You only have to consider the studs in this last game. Like I can't imagine clicking anyone else's name in this last game outside of Jokic, LeBron, or Anthony Davis. Like there's just no reason to do so. JT, do you like any of these guys tonight in this spot? Like Tony said, leaving some spots open and hitting 2 of these studs?
Yeah, I think the challenge with that is the price difference, at least on DraftKings, between Jokic and everybody else, right? Jokic is 11, LeBron is 10, I think AD is 9-7. And again, we would need news, some big news for me to be interested in Jokic tonight. It's one of those things. He's coming off a smash game where Rudy Gobert, I don't even think he tried to defend him, and now it's just a much different environment. The one guy that I do think in this game that I might have some of, just because I know nobody's going to play him, is I do think they'll throw bodies at Jokic. And I think, honestly, I think Jamal Murray is in that situation. He likes playing in these big games. He likes playing against this level competition, and he's done well against Lakers in some spots before. So he's, I think, 68 or 6,900 on DraftKings. Again, tough to prioritize him over some of the guys in these other games. But since I'm entering, 50 lineups, I think, in a couple of these contests, I'm definitely going to have some Jamal Murray, and I will have probably some of LeBron and maybe a little bit of AD, but the rest of the Lakers, I'll probably not have any of those guys.
Yeah, let's before we get to the plays, let's circle back and talk about that Hawks situation. Obviously, with Trae Young out, I mean, Rondo's going to pop. I mean, Rondo's definitely going to pop. He'll be starting here. But like I believe Tony, I think you said it. Like the results haven't been all that great for Rondo, even when he gets extended time. So yes, I think he is a good play. Is he a must? I don't know. There's a lot of good value. Obviously, Kevin Huerter gets a big boost. Kevin Huerter is a lock now on FanDuel. He's only 4.5K. Reddish is also a really good play. 4.7 on DK on FanDuel. Not too sure, but I'm guessing he's right in that range as well. Collins, I think, is a much stronger play. He's 6'9" on FanDuel. That's a good price tag. 7.3 on DK. I'll go to you first, Tony. Just kind of talk about how this shifts, your exposure here to the Hawks team.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting because I don't know. This is where I think the skill in DFS comes in, because you got to weigh the value in all three of these games: Atlanta, Golden State, and Portland. Where, so the news just keeps breaking. Like Draymond starting at center, Toscano Anderson at the 4, but. Yeah, just to sum up this game, I just don't feel as good about this game as I do the other games, and you're going to fade good plays in this spot now. I don't know. Like, I look at these guys, even Huerter, I don't love. I know it's going to stick off the page to people on FanDuel at 4,500, but Utah is a very good defense. They're well equipped to guard this team, and they don't, like Rondo – man, I don't know. Like, it's a tough spot for me for sure. I mean, Huerter is so cheap, 4,500. Like, John Collins, I think, will get a big-time boost now. But, man, I don't know if I know they're not the same position, but, man, I can't play Collins over, like, John Wall even still right now, I don't think. I don't know. I'm definitely torn about this because there's just so many good plays and so much value. And honestly, I probably need to just run some projections and just see like what lines up. But I can't see myself playing Rondo. I can say that for sure. I don't think I'll play him.
I will say FanDuel has his price up a little higher. He's 4.3 on FanDuel versus I believe 3.4 on DK. So it's a bigger decision on FanDuel. But 3.4 on DK, I think you can obviously definitely consider him. JT, give me your quick rundown here with this Trae Young situation.
Yeah, I agree on DraftKings, especially with Rondo, I believe, still being only point guard eligible there. So if Simon starts, I'm playing him. I'm probably playing Luka, and I'm definitely not wasting my utility spot on Rondo. So the guy for me in this game that hasn't looked good recently, has been shooting poorly, but he only played, I think it's low 20s minutes last night. His price came down a little. The numbers say he projects as a 1.3 point per minute player with Young and Hunter off the floor, and that's Cam Reddish. He's 4.7 on DraftKings. He's got talent. We've seen him put up big games when these guys are out, and that's a guy that I think slides in nicely. And I don't know how highly owned he's going to be. I think people may go more to Huerter just because Reddish hasn't been very good. I think the people that play this pretty regularly will want to play Reddish more because of that, and that's the boat that I'm in there. So I probably won't play Capella, and I don't know that I'll go to Collins again tonight.
Yeah, Collins better on FanDuel, where you have to play two power forwards, and he's only 6.9K there. Definitely better play than on DK. All right, hit that like button, hit the subscribe. You guys got over the 230, so we'll pick someone to give out a piece of gear to. I will do that as the boys are getting their picks ready here. First pick is our Eiffel Tower play of the day that comes to you by way of Mr. JT Hayes. Who is the Eiffel Tower play of the day?
It's tough tonight. It's tough because coming into this show, I was pretty locked. It was going to be John Morant, and that was it. I was going to say this is the game where he gets the minutes, but while I still think that's true, now that the Portland situation, the Golden State situation is opened up, and I think based on what I expect Dallas to do, I'm still torn here, but I think it's the night you lock Andrew Wiggins. And I think he's the Eiffel Tower play of the day.
Yeah, I feel really good about Wiggins. I love that, especially if you think, and like I said, these smart coaches are just doubling Curry, and Carlisle is someone that's going to plan, I think, to do that tonight, which should open up a ton of opportunity for guys like Wiggins and Oubre as well. So really, really strong play there, Andrew Wiggins. I endorse that one. All right, up next we have the workbench play of the day brought to you by BigT.
I mean, like JT said, this is one of those days where, I mean, honestly, like as the show's ending, I know the people that are going to check out the site are going to see our core plays go up in the next like half hour, 45 minutes as we get everything dialed in. The best play could change for me in the next half hour. But just looking at all these plays, I want to look at this Golden State team. I was going to, like JT said, coming in, I was going to say Gary Trent for sure. I still love Gary Trent. I'm going to play him a ton. But I want to get a little more creative on the workbench. This Golden State team, I'm just looking at these guys, and I want to find one of these sneaky guys that I think gets a big boost. And we've seen it in the past. I'm going to go off the board with the guy. He's not going to be in the starting lineup, which is going to make no one play him on this slate. And like I said, I reserve the right to maybe like a play more after I get in here. But I think Damian Lee, we've seen it in the past where he's totally exploded in this spot. I think he could get blowout run if it somehow blew out too. I think he has a lot of paths to getting us like 30 fantasy points. And at 3,400, this is what the workbench play is supposed to be. He can't be 10% owned if he doesn't start. And he's not going to start, I don't think, because they already said Draymond and Toscano Anderson at the 4 and the 5. So I don't think he starts. I think he does get a bunch of run, and I don't think anyone's going to play him, and that's what the workbench play is supposed to be about. So give me Mr. Damian Lee tonight.
Love it. Yeah, a guy that's capable of getting hot from behind the arc and really racking up fantasy points in a hurry by way of his three-point shooting. So I do like that. Like
one of those slashers too. Like I just feel like he's going to get in there and slash, and he's not scared. He'll get in there and bang with the big guys too if he needs to. I feel like this spot is a very, very Damian Lee-like spot.
Yeah, it's a good, really good spot for the Warriors. That game I think remains close, and should get a lot of minutes from all these guys. I mean, Damian Lee, even Brad Wanamaker is going to have to play some runs. So a really good spot here for the Warriors. So Eiffel Tower play is Andrew Wiggins. Workbench play is Damian Lee. Definitely endorse both. Feel pretty good about it. All right, and the winner of the gear, I believe this guy's already won, but West Coast Gem said, did Holden ever shart himself with the one-chip challenge? It's a good comment. The one-chip challenge, man, got to give Holden some credit. I mean, that was impressive work on his part. He lived up to his end of the bet and provided some good entertainment for everyone. So, hat tip to Mr. Holden. West Coast Gem, you can, I believe you've already won gear, but still we'll send you something else. Shoot Tony a message or info@RunPureSports, and we will get your gear mailed out. All right, that will do it. We have JSU and Holden taking you up to lock. Head on over to Run Pure Sports to check that out. You can use that promo code Workbench21 to get 25% off your first payment over there. So, all right, we're going to get on out for JT Hayes, for Big T. I'm Hoop. Good luck to everyone tonight in your contest.